Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5 a.m. Club. Today I'm here at Barruby Point on Stockton Beach up here at Port Stephens. And Stockton Beach is a pristine beach with golden sand, which goes for about 30 to 40 kilometres, I think it's 38 kilometres. So if you keep on walking in that direction, if you keep on driving in that direction, you'll eventually get to Newcastle. And as you can see on the inside, there are sand dunes which just go on forever. And it's a beautiful place to come. It's peaceful, it's wonderful, and the sunrises, as you can see, are to die for. What I'd like to do today is I'd like to continue to build my library of material in a sub-library, in a sub-series that I'm putting together on all that I've learned from Tony Robbins over the years, a series that I'm putting together as a tribute to the big man, where I basically take material that I've learnt over the years and just present it as best I can using the wonderful backdrop of wherever I am, be it in Sydney, be it up here on the mid-coast, and showcase the beauty of Australia, and at the same time what I can see here just off the shore are some dolphins just frolicking just behind the breakers there. So what I'll do is I'll try and focus on them for a while just to show you what I can see. I don't know if you can see their fins, but they're probably about 200 metres offshore there, feeding and having the time of their lives. They're surfing the waves whenever a wave comes in, and I don't know if you can see them there, but there's a group of about maybe 10 just feeding on a school of mullet or whatever there is out there. So that's one of the beauties of being out here, is that you can get the sense of being one with nature. And that's what I love about this place up here, that you can walk on this pristine beach and enjoy being one with nature and just getting away, clearing your mind, and just enjoying what God has to give us. Because today is a new slate. Today is a new day. Nobody's been to today, that's for sure and for certain. And we're all experiencing it for the very, very first time. And just like we've all had a unique and a different past, today we're all going to have a unique and a different present. Today is going to be different. My today is going to be different to your today. And we're all going to have, most certainly, a different future. It's important to understand that whilst we live in the same time and space, we're all going to have a different experience. And the experience that you're going to have today is based on your worldview, is based on how you interpret things, how you see things. It's based on how you've interpreted things in the past. The reality that you've been able to gain from things that you've done, from things that you've seen, from things that you've heard, from things that you've read, because we all get to live a slither of reality, and we add and concatenate a series of slithers that become our worldview, that become our reality over time. And the reality that I have, the things that I think are real, are going to be different to the reality that you may have. Because as we say, we create our reality by the things that we've experienced personally and the labels that we attach to those experiences, be they positive labels or negative labels, and also the other experiences that we inherit from somebody else, from the people we hang out with, from the teachers that we have at school, that the leaders, the family members we have that surround us whilst we're growing up, the stories they tell us, the stories we tell ourselves about these people and about these experiences. And Anthony Robbins says something which is really, really interesting. There are the dolphins out there just frolicking offshore. Anthony Robbins says something really interesting, and I really love it. And he says, and I've got it in the notes here, I don't know if you can see those notes, let me just turn around and get the sun on them. And he says right at the bottom there, how do you make a dog yours? The way you make a dog yours is that you name it, and then you get it to come to you on your command. And that in itself is a really profound statement, because each person has a life that is allotted to them, and it's allotted to us in a lifetime, and we don't know how long that lifetime is. For some people it could be 70, others it could be 100 years, others it could be 30. And for one poor fellow who was swimming here yesterday with four of his friends, they were caught in a rip. The four friends were saved, one was taken to hospital, and yet one person still remains unfound and is out there somewhere along this coastline on Stockton Beach, awaiting to be found. And you can imagine the trauma that his family and friends are experiencing right here and now, not knowing what happened and not knowing if they're ever going to see their family member, their friend, ever again. But getting back to the topic of today, what Anthony Robbins says is that we're given a lifetime, and it's our lifetime to explore. It's our lifetime to live, and it's our responsibility and our duty to make the most of our lifetime, and to not simply be a spectator in life where we are taken by the tides, taken by the rips, or sidetracked or distracted by other people's agendas and other people's ideas. What we need to do is we need to claim it. We need to claim our life. We need to name it and claim it and create a flag to say, well, this is my life. And during my lifetime, what I need to do is I need to express it the best way I can, so that we can have a lifetime that we can look back over, and having fully experienced and expressed ourselves, so that we live our calling or callings. Got a couple of ladies here going for a morning walk, enjoying this wonderful place that we have here. Morning ladies, how are you? So a very key message, that we have the ability to claim and own a thing called our life. Of course, it's important to acknowledge that our life is a gift. It's a gift from God that we shouldn't take too lightly. We shouldn't abuse. At the end of the day, our body is a temple. It's a temple that houses the Holy Spirit for those who are christened. For those who are christened, there is an indelible seal of the Holy Spirit that we have, and we need to cherish and to protect. And for that reason, Greek Orthodox Christians, and I can't talk about other Christians, but for that reason, Greek Orthodox Christians are called to respect their bodies, to not abuse their bodies with alcohol, with drugs, with addictions, with nicotine, to be careful to not overeat. And for that reason, Greek Orthodox throughout the year have many fasting periods. In fact, every Wednesday and Friday is a period of strict fast where you don't have any meat products, dairy products, and you limit your intake. And there are 4 key fasting periods throughout the year where we go for weeks on end with strict fasts, where we go without eating flesh, drinking or eating dairy products, eggs, and we limit the amount of calories that are ingested in our bodies. So it's all done with a purpose, in order to protect ourselves and to limit the damage that we do to our bodies through neglect and over consumption of the wrong foods. So the point that I'm trying to get at here is that, you know, there are processes that are available to Christians to help them navigate their lives, and not only to protect their bodies but also to protect their minds and their spirits and their emotional well-being, by also reading scriptures, by praying, by priming themselves every day, by being grateful and expressing gratitude to all the good things that are happening in one's life, for all the bad things that are happening in one's life, because whether or not it's good or bad, it can act as a signpost. It can act as a lesson, because at the end of the day we need to grow and develop and become better versions of ourselves, and the only way that we can grow and develop is by continuing to push ourselves to embrace discomfort, and to know that all of the lessons, all of the success, all of the achievement that we need in our lives to feel fulfilled, happy and content come from the activity, the things that we do, the things that we think, the things that we say, and the certainty that we're able to generate in our lives So we get a chance to own our life and to be a partner with God in His creation, because we also need, whilst owning our life, to know that our life needs to have a purpose. And that purpose for a Christian is that we need to fulfill our duty, to fulfill our calling as servants. I don't know if many people understand this, but when you are christened, or when you're christened within a Greek Orthodox church, that ceremony, that honour, it enables somebody to become a full member of the church community. It enables them to participate and partake in all of the sacraments of the church. And at the same time, it also creates, as I said before, a responsibility and a duty to, from that point onwards, to see yourself in a humble way as being a servant of God, which means that you work with God from that point on throughout your life to create your dreams, but as long as your dreams are aligned with God's will and what He wants from us, is a key observation. So we come into this world not to be selfish and just to achieve all of the comforts and all of the desires that one may generate, but we come into this world with gifts, with strengths, with charismata, so that we can use those charismata to make a better world, not only for us, but for those around us as well. Because our purpose from a Christian perspective is that the reason why we come into the world is so that we can, as an eagle, so that we can become servants of God, and that we can use all of our faculties, all of our capabilities, all of our gifts to worship God with all our heart, mind and soul, to love God, to worship God, and to do all the things that are God-pleasing as a first priority. And the second priority that we all have is to love our neighbour as we love ourselves, with the clue being you need to love yourself in order to love your neighbour. But we need to do things, and the big man Tony Robbins reminds us that the key to living is giving. So we're not here to enjoy ourselves only. We're here to create joy for others, and by creating comfort and joy for others, we're also going to have as a byproduct contentment, fulfillment, joy, happiness in manifold terms, more than what we could ever hope for. Because if you live life on your own, if you live life as an individual, then at some point in time you're just going to feel empty. There's no happiness in celebrating on your own. I've got to tell you, as a parent, as a team member, over the years, what you learn is that the greatest joys of all are shared experiences with loved ones, with family, with friends, where you get to do things with others, and you get to share it. And it's this communal euphoria which I've experienced a few times. You know, whenever you go to the football, for example, say to a grand final, or whenever you go to the Olympic Games and watch Kathy Freeman run the 400 metres, it's at times like that. Or when Greece plays Euro 2004 and plays the host country, Portugal, in the final, where Greece is the despised underdog, the long odds outsider. And when you see your team, or when you see the person that you've gone to watch achieve something special, and the crowd is united just for a moment as one, and they cheer and they carry on, and that moment, that experience of communal euphoria, we experience that at Easter, Greek Orthodox, when we have Pascha on Easter Sunday, when the priest comes out and euphorically announces Christ is risen, and everybody chants Christos Anesti. That is once again a uniting moment of communal euphoria. And you can have things like communal euphoria. You can also have communal mourning as well, which we experience at people's funerals, or on Good Friday when you go to church. There is a sadness. There is a sense of loss that one has. And once again, these moments tend to unite people in a productive way, and it gets us to see ourselves in terms of who we really are. But this is where we need to participate. This is where we need to be part of the outcome, and to enjoy it as best we can, because it's through connection that one finds meaning. It's through doing things with other people that you get to feel united as one. You get to feel as if you're part of something which is bigger and better than you. And it's got a lady here walking her dog. The dog's waiting in anticipation for that ball to be thrown. Let's see how he goes. What a wonderful, wonderful way to start a morning, going for a walk along this pristine, uninterrupted beach here on the mid-north coast. You've got the Pacific Ocean that goes on forever out to the east. You've got the sunrise just picking up over the land over there, and you've got sand dunes that extend for something like 38 kilometres. You can actually walk from here to Newcastle, and every year there was a run from Newcastle to Anna Bay, which I once thought I'd love to do, but I guess as the years go by, it becomes one of those unattainable dreams. But I have walked about 20 kilometres along this beach. Many years ago, I got my daughter Catherine and Alex and Annabelle, who was still a baby, to drop me off down there at I think it's called, a place called Saltbush. It's just near where the McDonald's is that turns off to the Hexham Bridge. They dropped me off there, and I walked, must have felt like 6 hours non-stop. I didn't have any water, but the amount of peace and serenity that I experienced was just magical, and second to nothing, really. And there is a tin city down there, a city that is made up of shacks, maybe 4 or 5 shacks, which sit in the sand dunes. And it's like a scene out of Mad Max, something really, really cool, and something that we should all experience at some time of our lives. The only problem is that it's too far to walk to and to walk back from, and it's too far to walk from the other side back here to Anna Bay for most people, unless you want to take, a 7-hour or a 6-hour walk. It is a long, long way. But I'll never forget that day. It was just absolutely special. But the key message from the big man, Anthony Robbins, is that we need to name things, we need to label things in order to own them. And for that reason, how we talk to ourselves, what we say to ourselves, how we describe things to ourselves is really important. Because when you have that inner dialogue, when you have that inner conflict, when you try and figure things out, what you're actually doing is you're convincing yourself that you're taking ownership of it, and you're claiming it, and you're making it your own. And when you make something your own, then once you've personalized it, once you've internalized it, then what you're doing is you're working with it. So the next step, of course, is once you've named it, once you've labeled it, once you've taken ownership of it, you've got to use it, and you've got to use it to your benefit. And this is where there are 2 types of people. There are some people who use things to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt. People who get lost down the rabbit holes of conspiracy theories that infect themselves and infect others with uncertainty, with fear, uncertainty, and doubt, with hate. And there are other people who use things to create certainty. They use their past experiences to create certainty in their life so that they can attack, so that they can perform, so that they can achieve, and use things as stepping stones for progress, rather than using the stepping stones as bricks to build up walls and to isolate themselves and to hide from their challenges and problems. So the big encouragement from the big man is that in life we need to understand our purpose, we need to understand our calling, we need to be convinced and confident that that calling is an expression of who we really are. And once you know what you're trying to achieve, once you know where you're going, then there's no way in the world anybody is going to stop you. Anthony Robbins uses the analogy of a young toddler who wants to go and grab something, grab a toy. It doesn't matter what you put in front of him or her. She will find a way, he will find a way to go over, under, through whatever obstacles you put in their path in order to get to where they want to get to. And the big man reminds us that we too need to be childlike in how we live our lives, and to not be distracted, to not be diminished, to not be disappointed when we see distractions and barriers in our road, in our path, but just to keep on pushing on just like we did when we were learning how to walk and we'd fall over, just to get up and try again by changing our approach every time, but not giving up. Not giving up is the key. And the reason why you don't give up is because it's yours. You've taken ownership of it. You've claimed it, is the key message from the big man. So the last point I want to finish on, I've been talking for half an hour here. The last point that I want to finish on is where Anthony Robbins says that stress and stresses abound in the world, but there are two types of stresses. There's stress which is negative, which creates cortisol, creates pain, suffering, disappointment, and is uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable. And there's a thing called eustress, which is something that is positive, that is something that gets you up early in the morning and keeps you up late at night, that it's something that draws you to your target, draws you to your calling, makes you do things with unlimited energy levels, because it's a positive energy. And what determines whether or not it's eustress or bad stress, if it's good stress or bad stress, is your mindset, is how you think about things. If you see things as an opportunity for growth and development, if you see things as an opportunity to express yourself, to bend and stretch yourself, to learn new patterns, to make new connections, to meet new people, to find new ways of doing things, to identify ways of how things don't work, and to put all of those things in your inventory of knowledge and skills that you can call on time and time again. Because the big man reminds us again and again and again that life is cyclical in nature. Everything is a pattern that has happened before and will happen again and again and again in our lives. And whilst not every pattern plays out the same way, exactly the same way, generally they do work out in a similar way. And if you understand how a pattern works, if you can identify a pattern, then what you can do is you can use that knowledge to anticipate an outcome. And by anticipating an outcome, you're creating your own certainty. By being able to translate that outcome to other people, you're helping them gain certainty as well. So we mustn't see the challenges, the problems that we have in our lives as being negatives, is the key message from Anthony Robbins, but we must see it as an opportunity for growth and development, and to make things fun. This is a big message from Anthony Robbins, that one of the key things that we need to be able to do, not only for ourselves, but also for our children and for our work teams, is to invest fun into the learning process, to see the bright side, to see the good side, to see the funny side, to be humble with what we do, and to know that everything we do is a learning experience, a learning opportunity, and not to be too caught up in our own self-importance, but to do things freely, comfortably, to liberate ourselves from our own self-judgment or the judgment of others, knowing that what we're doing freely because we understand the process. We understand that what we do is going to help us grow and develop, is going to help us find a new way of doing things, is going to help us identify and use this pattern again and again. And the people who have the most patterns stored away, the people who can access and use the banked patterns that they have, are the ones who are going to be the greatest leaders. So whatever problems come your way, don't turn your back on them. Don't try and hide or run from them. The key message from the big man is to look, think, assess, and respond positively and powerfully, rather than to meekly fear it and walk away from it and hide from it. Some very, very valuable lessons, and it's been an absolute gift being able to walk this beautiful morning on Stockton Beach and to be one with all of these other people who have their dogs down here and are just making the most of this new day, this Monday, this first day of the work week. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of All That I've Learned from Anthony Robbins, a sub-series that I'm putting together to celebrate and commemorate the great work of the big man Anthony Robbins, the work that he's been able to put and generate and express and deliver to millions of people throughout the world over the years, and an opportunity for me to learn it a little bit better by reviewing it and by overlaying it with some of the experiences, some of the life experiences that I have had, and also to contemporize it and to make it relevant to me, my family, my friends, and to keep the good work going. Because at the end of the day, Anthony Robbins is probably the first one to say that all he is a simple man, an emissary, a messenger who's been able to take the many lessons that he has learnt from all of the books that he has read. He says that he's read over 700 books. That was 30 years ago, so the number of books that he would have read and the number of interviews and people that he's liaised with over time would be in the thousands, I'd imagine, these days. So the whole concept of OPE, other people's experience, is one of those gifts that the big man has been able to teach me. The importance of OPM and OPE, using other people's money and other people's experiences to be able to leverage our lives and do more with our lives than what we would have ever thought possible. There we are. I've come to the end of my walk, and here's the view from the Berrubi Point Life-Saving Club, and as you can see, it's pretty special. And what I can see is that we have a new addition out here. We've got a yellow buoy, probably about, I don't know, 200 or 300 meters offshore, and I'd probably say that that has something to do with managing and monitoring the size of the waves, and possibly being a shark alarm or something like that as well. Anyway, I'll find out with time, but you see here, this is a magical place, a beautiful place, a highly underrated place, a place that not very many people know about. But once you've been here, once you've experienced the beauty of Stockton Beach, you realise that it's one of the most beautiful places, not only in Australia, but in the world. This afternoon, I'm going to bring my sister-in-law down here and take her on a camel ride that starts down here in this little area. I'll just show you. Camel ride that starts down here and it makes its way through those sand dunes and then ends up walking along the beach here. And there is a sunset ride which goes for an hour that costs $130 that we would love to do one day, but that's only available on a Friday and a Saturday, just so you are aware. The other rides are a 20-minute ride and cost $40. But that's what I plan to do today as a gift to my sister-in-law, because she just finds this place mind-boggling. The rawness, the natural rawness of this environment. These sand dunes are something which are quite unique to somebody who has come from Greece and is used to a different type of setting and a different sort of structural outlook. Anyway, wishing you all the best, and I look forward to coming to you again from another place with another message of empowerment, where we continue to take morsels from the big man Tony Robbins and to use the beautiful environment that we're surrounded by as a backdrop, just to make it ever so much more interesting, so that we can kill two birds with one stone. We can help feed our minds, but also feed our eyes as well, with this beautiful, beautiful country that we live in. Yassas, take care, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.